Good morning, one and all. Good morning, and welcome to the Neighborhood Unitarian Universalist Church of Pasadena, California. Welcome to all members, friends, and guests. My name is Cynthia Kelly, and I am serving as your worship associate today. I am a tall, kind of elderly, I am a tall, elderly, white-haired, blue-eyed woman with red glasses, wearing a green shirt, black slacks, and black boots. Again, welcome. Neighborhood Church creates and grows an inclusive community of faith connected by love, spirit, and service. We acknowledge our presence on the ancestral, unceded territory of the Gabrielino Tongva peoples, the traditional caretakers of our lands and waters with this campus. With respect for the rights and wisdom of indigenous people, we acknowledge our harmful colonial histories. We commit to decolonizing our own practices, to learning new ways of being in community with each other, in good relationship with indigenous people of this land and with the land itself. Today's service is led by Reverend Ann Himes. Reverend Himes. Music today is with Thomas Simpson and the Neighborhood Bell Choir with Wells Lang as accompanist. Please take a moment to silence your devices as we begin our services. Families with young children are always welcome in our sanctuary. More seating is also available in the foyer narthex. All right, one brief announcement. Coming up soon, next weekend. Coming up soon is winter camp at De Benaville Pines. If you would like financial assistance to attend camp, please let the camp registrars or Reverend Omega know. We want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to experience the beauty and sense of community and being in camp that camp can provide. Yeah, I'm going. It's fantastic, everybody. More extensive announcements as well as our order service this morning are available in the link in your Sunday email. Our order service is also visible online by scanning with your phone camera the QR code on the back of the hymnal. Again, welcome to Neighborhood Church, whoever you are, wherever you are in your spiritual journey. Welcome to this inclusive community connected by love, spirit, and service.
Good morning. My pronouns, I'm Reverend Ann Hines. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And Wells, thank you so much for the music. Where are you? It was just gorgeous, and I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of the music throughout this service. I offer you these words by the Reverend Scott Alexander. When evil darkens our world, give us light. When despair numbs our souls, give us hope. When we falter and fear, surround us with beauty. When nothing seems sure, give us trust. When we lose our way, guide our steps with love. Oh.
All right, guys. I've never done this. Ha-ha.
And even though I have an order of service sitting right next to me, it has been pointed out that I overlooked the prelude after saying how wonderful the music is. So let's have our prelude now, and then we'll do our centering. Let's just take a moment to relax and feel any stress or tension leave your body. Feel your feet connected to the earth. And the connection between each of you sitting in this room and those beyond. These words are by Marianne Hockton Cotter. Welcome to this place of possibility. This is love's hearth, the home of hope, a refuge for minds in search of truth, unfolding, ever beautiful, ever strange. Here, compassion is our shelter, freedom our protection from the storms of bigotry and hate. In this abode, may we find comfort and courage. Here, may our sight become vision to see the unseen, to glimpse the good that is yet to be. Amen.
Our opening hymn is number 1039 in your teal hymnals or on the screens above. Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing Be Thou With Us. We will sing it 3 times.
Be thou with us now. Good morning, everybody. This morning's Time for All Ages is called Hope is a Hop. Great story for us to segue into spring and also reminiscent a little bit of Easter. So looking forward. And you can find the images on the screen. Hope is a light you turn on in the dark, and up before sunrise, start of a spark. Hope is a whisper you say to your heart. It is a hoe and a hole and a heap in your cart. Hope is a seed that is too small to spy, deep in the dirt that's deserted and dry. Hope is a hum and a song and a pat. A battle with a bunny, a worn-in straw hat. Hope is a sprout and a splosh in the mud, the first pop of pink and a blossoming bud. When everything's tussled and turned upside down. When you're thudding and thumping and covered in brown. When you're waist-high in weeds and you're worried you'll drown. Hope's a soft heartbeat so loud that it drums. A new place discovered from following crumbs. Hope is 8 ears that are huddled as one. Hope is a hop and a skip and a run. It's new seeds and soil and planting anew, and waiting and wishing for sunshine and dew. At last, there's a rainbow, all braided like rope. New hops and new hands that all sprouted from hope. The end. That ends our Time for All Ages. Please join me in singing out any children in the room to our lessons. Thank you.
So sweet. All right, everybody. Each Sunday, our congregation dedicates 100% of contributions to 501c3 organizations or neighborhood church-based social justice activities that make a difference in our community and in the world. Each selected guest organization aligns with our community's missions and value and is nominated by church members who often are longtime volunteers and supporters of this change-making organization. You can donate in one of two ways. You can use your cell phone to donate by texting the number on the screen, or if you prefer to donate in person, put your donation in one of the designated boxes in it here, and the back of the service, and outside in the narthex. You may rise during the music. You may also rise during the music to put your donation in the box if you wish. Please extend help to those in your neighborhood who may need assistance in reaching the donation boxes. If you wish to make a payment towards our pledge or contribute to church operations, make a note on the subject line or use an envelope available in the donation box. This week, our gifts will support the Pasadena, I want to say this right. We will support the Pasadena Community Garden. Here with more information is Nadia Hillman. Come in.
Good morning. So I am Nadia Hillman. I'm the co-chair of your Share the Plate committee, and I stand before you today to speak a little bit about Altadena Community Garden. Wasn't it nice that we had that story? I thought that was very apropos. But it's my honor to speak with you about something that is in fact more than a garden. It's a thriving community, a classroom without walls, a place where people from all walks of life come together to cultivate not only fresh food, but also relationships, knowledge, and well-being. For over 50 years, the Altadena Community Garden has been a place of nourishment, not just for the body, but for the spirit. Families plant roots here, children discover the magic of gardening, and neighbors share in the simple joy of harvesting something they've nurtured with their own hands. However, as you know, this beloved garden has recently faced devastating damage due to the fires that swept through our area. The paths, plots, and spaces where so many have learned and grown have simply been very damaged and destroyed. We recognize that the fires have impacted not just the garden, but many individuals and organizations in our community. The destruction has been widespread, and we do stand in solidarity with those affected. That said, the community garden, Altadena Community Garden, has always been a symbol of resilience, a space where life continues to grow in the face of adversity. This worthy organization is committed to rebuilding, and today we are asking for your support to help make that happen. Your donation, whether big or small, will go directly toward repairing and restoring the garden. It will help rebuild the plots and replace tools and any of the infrastructure that was damaged, and bring back educational programs that we rely on. The donations collected today will help ensure that this space remains a sanctuary for all who seek to grow, learn, and connect. We know many individuals and organizations are facing challenges after the fires, and we're grateful for the support of each and every one of those of you who can help. Will you stand with me as a friend of the Altadena Community Garden in rebuilding this special place, ensuring it thrives for generations to come? Thank you for your generosity, your resilience, and your unwavering support.
Oh, yes, thank you for giving generously.
Thank you. It was wonderful. I offer you this post-election day meditation by Bishop Stephen Charleston. I know you are tired. I know you are worried. The path ahead seems certain in only one respect, that it will not be easy. If we have learned anything through the night, it is how sharply we are divided, a margin so close as to cut our hopes in half. What comfort can I give you but this invitation to gather beneath the sheltering arms of the Holy Spirit of love? The door through which we passed was so narrow, the path ahead seems narrower still. But before a single step is taken, before another drama begins, let the wings of that Spirit enfold you, protecting you from the danger, restoring your soul to the very core of who you are. Rest before the journey resumes. Rest and be renewed. Your courage has carried you this far. Let your faith take you that one step further. Our search continues, our hearts united, our trust in love unbroken. In 1974, when my daughter would have been 8 or 9 years old and my son about a year old, a children's book was published by the Ms. Foundation called Free to Be You and Me, Some of you may remember that book. It was the brainchild of the actress Marlo Thomas and had some great children's stories in it by a variety of authors, like the one about a princess who refuses to get married before exploring the world. I several times have used that as the time for all ages in my congregations. Or the little girl who insists that ladies must always go first, and so is the first to get eaten by the jungle lions. There were songs included like It's All Right to Cry, which gives boys permission to cry, William's Doll, which affirms that it's good for boys to play with dolls, and the title song, Free to Be You and Me. I often read the stories from that book to my children when it came out in hopes that they might escape some of the messages coming from the larger culture about what and who they were supposed to be based on their biological gender. Unfortunately, the stories made no difference. My daughter only wanted to play with dolls, and my son with trucks. Shortly after the book was published, a group of well-known entertainers collaborated with Marlo Thomas to turn her book into a television special, which was even more engaging than the book. It's quite delightful to watch football player Rosie Greer singing, "It's all right to cry." And oh my God, hearing Carol Channing say, ladies first," was pretty funny. I was reminded of that show just a few years ago in 2020 during Trump's first presidency and right as we were learning about the COVID-19 virus and were being told to isolate at home to protect ourselves and others from catching it. Without any treatment, we were told it could be, and it was, deadly. So I started watching TV all day long. I know, some of you cleaned out your garages or learned how to bake bread or started on those projects that you've been putting off for years because of lack of time. But I didn't do anything worthwhile. I just watched a lot of old TV programs like West Wing and MASH, even episodes of Gunsmoke, which really tells you how old I am. One of the shows I watched during that isolated time was a mini-series called Mrs. America, a dramatization of the struggle to pass the Equal Rights Amendment back in the late 1960s and early 70s. So there I was, sitting on my couch one day in April 2020 with my little dog Lucy by my side, watching, I believe, what was the final episode of the series. It ended with Gloria Steinem and her boyfriend and another couple coming together to watch the TV special, Free to Be You and Me. And suddenly I was transported right back there to 1974, filled with anticipation and waiting eagerly for the show to begin. I watched with them as it opened with the title song, "There's a land that I see where the children run free, and I say it ain't far to this land from where we are." And with no warning, sitting there in my living room in 2020, I suddenly burst into tears. Not just a few quiet tears, but loud, uncontrollable sobs. I felt like my heart was breaking. What has happened to our country, I remember thinking. What happened to those dreams we had back then when we were so young and thought we could change the world? Where did it all go? Recently, I rewatched that episode of Mrs. America, and I had the very same reaction. I wept. Because things have only gotten worse since I first watched it 4.5 years ago. Indeed, since 2016, really, we have been witnessing what I believe to be a slow but steady dismantling of our democracy, a shredding of our American ideals of liberty and justice for all. The dismantling took a bit of a break after 2020, though the Supreme Court still managed to overturn major protections for women and people of color. But now the unthinkable has happened. What's being called Trump 2.0 has been ushered in, eager to fulfill the promise of Project 2025, a document that outlines in frightening detail the deliberate undermining of our democracy and the installation of an oligarchy with the religious values of Christian nationalism. The swiftness with which the political earth has been shifting under our feet has truly been traumatic, as every day brings news of something that only intensifies our fears, fuels our outrage, and deepens our grief. It probably goes without saying, therefore, that for many of us, it has been difficult to remain hopeful that our country can survive this trauma, or that the damage, the real damage, being done to individual lives, to trans youth, to LGBTQ plus folks, to people of color, the poor, really anyone living on the margins in America, can be undone. I think of a niece of mine who is Asian and non-binary and wonder if she any longer feels safe. Or the lesbian daughter of a nephew of mine who now says she hates our country. And who can blame her? I can't. And one morning recently, I woke up with a visceral fear for my biracial children, and especially for my son-in-law and grandson, who, when you look at them, are clearly not white. I've always known intellectually that their lives could be put in danger. But now, because hatred and violence have been given an acceptable place in America by those most powerful, now I feel that fear for them in my body. My siblings and I sometimes muse about how glad we are that our activist mother and journalist father are not alive to witness what's happening to their beloved country. Yet I have also wished that I could talk to them about it. I want to ask them how they kept their faith during the years of McCarthyism, when people they knew were losing their jobs after being investigated by the House Un-American Activities Committee. Did our parents ever sink into despair and hopelessness? Did they want to crawl back into bed and stay there, as I feel like doing some mornings? I suspect some of you feel that way as well. But that is exactly what the designers of Project 2025 want us to do. It is exactly what the new administration and Elon Musk expect we will do. And we must not. We must stay awake and find points of hope, and then reflect that hope out to others. Indeed, we must become that hope. One of the foundations of our Unitarian Universalist faith has always been justice for those who are marginalized, who have been pushed to the edges. We have always said that we side with love, and last June, delegates to our General Assembly came together to claim love as the very center of our faith, with our values of justice, equity, and compassion emanating from that center. Love is what grounds our faith. But perhaps what has always been so challenging is that we are not just to say those words, love, justice, equity, and compassion. We are to embody them, to live our love out loud through acts of justice, equity, and compassion. We have always been a faith of doers, not just talkers. But I don't know about you, but I'm finding it harder and harder these days to believe that anything I might do will make a difference in these painful times in which we find ourselves. Yet I remember the words of one of my favorite Holly Near songs, with which I will not offend you by singing. She writes, "I am open, I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change." I am seeing more and more glimmers of that light these days. Boycotts of companies that have gone ahead and eliminated their DEI, their diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Entire days scheduled, like the upcoming February 28th, where individuals vow to make no unnecessary purchases that day. Numerous large and small protests every week around the country, including in front of Tesla dealerships. International leaders challenging some of the outrageous ideas and statements coming from the White House. Constituents of congressional leaders showing up at town hall meetings and demanding that their representatives stop the cruel and illegal actions of this administration. And of course, there are the many lawsuits that started on day one, challenging those illegal actions, and so far, many of them winning. And then there are congregations like this one, which has a history of working for justice, addressing anti-racism, welcoming and actively supporting LGBTQ+ folks, speaking up for the marginalized, and caring for the earth. You are part of that light, that hope, and that's what keeps my faith alive. That's what reminds me that despair and cynicism are never the answer. The way to remain hopeful is to remain a part of the solution through our actions for justice. Now, I know that neighborhood church is also carrying the added trauma of the Eaton fire. I know that a number of you lost your homes and everything in them in that fire, and that you are still coping with the overwhelming ramifications of that loss, and that you will be for a long time. You are probably simply trying to find hope in your personal situation as you move through your grief, which makes it even more important that those of us not as directly impacted by that tragedy do whatever we can to protest our current national tragedy. Everything we do, no matter how small it may seem to us, helps bend that moral arc of the universe toward justice. We may not see it immediately. We may not even see it in our lifetime, though I have vowed to stay alive until I know that this national nightmare is over. And thank you. And I expect that of the rest of you too. I must believe that what you and I do will make a difference for our children and our grandchildren. One thing I've decided I can do is wear more message t-shirts. So recently on Facebook, someone that I think many of you probably remember, Reverend Sarah LaWall, who got ordained right in this sanctuary a number of years ago, she posted on Facebook a picture of herself wearing a t-shirt with pink and blue words that said, that are colors for trans, that said, "You'll have to go through me." So, and she was encouraging the rest of us to order one. And I wrote, I think if some anti-trans person were to see this small 80-year-old woman with a t-shirt saying, "You have to go through me," they would just laugh and push me aside. And someone who I don't know responded, "I have a son who is trans, and if he saw you wearing that, he would be thrilled." So I ordered it and have worn it several times. After watching that episode of Mrs. America 4.5 years ago, I posted on Facebook about my meltdown upon hearing the song "Free to Be You and Me" and the despair I was feeling. Almost immediately, I began receiving responses. "You are not alone, my friend," said one person. "Yes, I feel the same way," said another. But the best response came from my now 55-year-old daughter. "I watched that episode of Mrs. America also," she wrote, "and I started singing along. I didn't think I would know the words. Hope that puts a smile on your face," which it did. In fact, it prompted me to order the book since I'd given mine away many years earlier. It was quite a bit more expensive now. I think it's considered an antique, as am I. I ordered 2 copies so that I could give one to my daughter. I know it brought a smile to her face. We are living in a fearful and a bewildering time. It can be tempting to let go of our faith that America can be a place where the children run free, and that whatever small actions we take makes a difference for those children. But we cannot lose that faith. We must remember that we are not alone, especially when in a religious community such as this one. So I want to leave you with a poem called "Prayer for the Morning" by UU minister Audette Fulbright Fulson. Did you rise this morning broken and hung over with weariness and pain and rage, tattered from waving too long in a brutal wind? Get up, child. Pull your bones upright. Gather your skin and muscle into a patch of sun. Draw breath deep into your lungs, for you will need it as another day calls to you. I know you ache. I know you wish the work were done, and you, with everyone you have ever loved, were on a distant shore, safe and unafraid. But remember this, tired as you are not alone. Here and here and here also, there are others weeping and rising and gathering their courage. You belong to them and they to you. And together we will break through and bend the arc of justice all the way down into our lives. May it always be so. Amen.
Our closing hymn is number 1015 in your teal hymnals. We will sing all 5 verses of "I Know I Can." Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing.
Troubles wait
In benediction, I offer you these words by L.R. Nost. Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. All things break, and all things can be mended, not with time, as they say, but with intention. So go, love intentionally, extravagantly, unconditionally. The broken world waits for the light that is you. Let us go now in joy, remembering that joy, too, is an act of resistance. Shalom, salam, namaste, alleluia.